Good morning, everybody. My name is Kayla Larson, and I'm here with the School of Potential. And today I wanted to ask you a question about how we can foster a growth mindset in our youth today, particularly related to health, fitness, and sport. So if you have any ideas, comments, or questions, post them down below, and I'll be sure to reach out and answer some of those questions and really clarify what we're talking about today and in future videos. So like I said, I'm here with the School of Potential, where our mission and our vision is to help youth and young adults to expand their mind and unleash their potential. And this really came to my awareness as an important part, as in my journey, I was a physiotherapist and I was dealing with the health area of things. So I wanted to quickly talk about kind of health, fitness, and sport before we get into how we can foster a growth mindset in our youth growing up. And I have 5 main tools for you to take away today. So I hope that they are very valuable. But when we're working with youth and sport, we really need to look at what is health, right? Health is just the mere absence of disease. It's not even really being healthy. It's just there's a lack of anything negative functioning in the body. Our next level is we have fitness. This is a state of well-being where our children and our youth are going after goals. They're improving their fitness, they're improving their function, and they're really making things happen. And then our kind of third and final level, where many kids do fall into, is that area of sport. So we've gone past the point of well-being, and now we're in a point of competition. So there's something that we're competing for, there's something we're going after, whether it's striving from ourselves or others. And it's very important, no matter which area your child is in, to foster a growth mindset, to create a relationship with health and fitness that's going to last a lifetime, that's going to excite them, and they're going to see the value in being proactive, in being well-being and fitness, and moving towards some of their health and fitness goals. So what can we do to foster this growth mindset? Like I said, I've come up with 5 main keys that I think is super important when we're working with youth, especially that 10 to 18-year-old category, because they're really taking in a lot of information and learning. So for the first thing, I would say for our youth, as a parent, as a youth worker, or even as a coach, what we must foster is, number 1, suggesting that trying new things is a good thing. So providing youth with the benefits of variability when it comes to health, fitness, and sport. There can be a real rush to get people to, or to get youth to specialize, but the benefits of being variable in your training, being variable in the activities you participate in, will benefit you through a lifetime. It's much more important to look at what you're doing on a weekly basis than a daily basis. It can be difficult for kids to try something new every single day, but if we can foster them to, on a weekly basis, try a new activity, try something new for your health and fitness. And if we can show them that we're doing that, that will foster them to continue to try something new. When we're trying something new, we really want to inspire our youth to see what their strengths are, as well as what their weaknesses. This will come to the surface when you're trying something new. So as our youth go and learn these new skills, we need to tell them that reaching for a new dream or a new goal, they're going to have to build up these skills, and also focusing on why it is important to try new things. It allows youth to really discover who they are, what they want out of their health and fitness, and how they're going to move forward in the future. So number 1 for a growth mindset is try new things. Number 2, encourage persistence, especially when it comes to fitness and sports. We must encourage persistence in our young athletes. Commitment is when we're tying, I often say accountability is like glue. You're tying the commitment to action. We want to show our young athletes how they can commit themselves to be persistent, to keep trying at their particular sport or activity or fitness goal, even when they aren't instantly seeing the results that they desire. I often, when working with youth, draw out the image of an iceberg and how the tip of the iceberg, you can only see that small 5 or 10% portion. You're seeing the results, the physical, but underneath that large part of the iceberg, this is where, the persistent comes in, the grit, the work, and explain this to them, how everything we see in the physical, there's also a lot of thought, words, and emotions coming behind that are getting us to those physical results. So giving your youth and your children examples of famous athletes who were persistent or who have failed in the past is very beneficial for them to see that. Some of the examples I share with athletes are Michael Jordan got cut from the high school basketball team. He was told he wasn't good enough to play, but he persisted in his vision of being an elite basketball player. If he would have let that first person who said you can't do it affect his thoughts and his words so strongly that he wasn't persistent, he gave up after his dream, we probably wouldn't have that image of the Chicago Bulls that we have today. So fact number 2 is persistence is key, and we must encourage it in youth when they're growing in mindset. So try new things, encourage persistence. And number 3, we must reframe losing or failure. Emphasize the points of mastery and in celebrating the positives and what they have done well. Maybe you've heard before that mastery takes over 10,000 hours. Give examples to your youth and children and how skills take time to develop. There's this law we teach about called the law of gestation. When you plant a seed, whether it's a baby or a carrot, there is a time that takes place in order for those skills or that task to gestate, to come to life. So we must be patient and persistent during these times. Also, when maybe a child is experiencing failure or, lost a game or something, having some self-reflective questions are going to be important. What is one thing I did well? And what are 2 things I can improve upon? Is often the question that's going to get them stimulated and thinking on the plane of how can I? What did I do well? What can I use from this experience to fuel me and move me forward to my next success? I often share with athletes that in reality, we learn more from our failures than we do from our successes. We learn what doesn't work and what isn't going to serve us. So now we can recycle those, reject those, and replace it with the new thoughts, the new words, and the new feelings that are going to serve us, that are going to help us to feel good and move towards our goal and our dream and our vision. So reframing what losing or failure looks like for you and for your youth athlete is going to be important. I've heard that failure is just, your first attempt in learning. I've also heard you need to literally fail your way to success. You have to figure out what doesn't work before you figure out what does work, and especially in sport, this is true. Give examples on how famous people respond to failures or to losing. Take with your kid while you're watching a basketball game or a hockey game or a soccer game. Watch at the end. When the game is over and one team has, won and one team hasn't, how does that team respond? Are they reacting or are they responding to the situation? Foster some of these principles with your youth and how you can use that as an example to fuel them, to move them forward. Because in reality, and especially in sport, you're not always going to be, you're not going to win every game, right? You're going to have to experience some of those failures to aid you in the movement towards your goal, which is the success that you are seeking. And also embrace the fun. Sport is about leadership. It's about showing up. It's about getting kids set up in these principles for success that are going to go far beyond what they ever do in sport or on and off the field. It's going to help them in life. how to be a leader, how to be proactive, and how to respond to, situations where you don't always win. So that leads us into point number 4, which is also, if we're reframing losing, we also should reframe winning as a parent or as a coach. So this is really emphasizing the point of effort, focus, and discipline. And now, what is discipline? Discipline is your ability to give yourself a command and to follow that. So we want to support you in seeing this. When you're winning, it's because you were disciplined in your thoughts, your feelings, and your action. And we want to create that connection with our youth athletes. Maybe there was a time when they didn't win, and there was a time where they did win. Now let's take and evaluate, what were the words I was speaking during the game, before the game, and after? Now, what were the thoughts that were signaled? Now, what did they get me feeling? What was I feeling during the game, after, and before? And we want to write this out with our youth athletes in all its fullness. This is something my husband and I do with these athletes, and that helps to make a transformation in their thought patterns, their feelings, and eventually the results and actions will change as well if you continue in this reflective pattern and you continue to seek these growth-minded principles with your youth and your youth athletes. Then we also want to point out the fact that if, say, your athlete wins without apparent effort, or maybe they weren't trying that hard, but it was easy, we'll show them that maybe that wasn't quite a stretch goal. It might have been a simple goal for them, but it wasn't a stretch goal. We really want to see them, get them to see the value in going after these stretch goals, in evaluating our wins and our failures, not based on who we're competing against, but based on what is going on internally inside of these athletes. What are the thoughts? What are the actions? What are the efforts they're putting in? How are they showing up to their health and fitness, or to these competitions and performance and sport? By reframing both losing and winning, we're able to stimulate athletes to see the real growth, because the truth is, in reality, it's not about winning or losing the game. It's about getting these athletes to cultivate new success principles, new leadership styles, and things inside of them that then they are able to take and relate to sport, but ultimately take as leadership skills outside of the field and bring it into the reality in the future. Sport is really about creating future leaders in and off the field, which brings us to principle number 5, which, when we're in sport and as youth, we got to teach them how to handle constructive criticism. This can be something that's difficult to give as a coach, but it can be also difficult for some young athletes to receive criticism. So with this being said, I have 4 tips for you today that are going to help you to better give criticism to youth athletes, as well as how to cultivate it in a way that's going to promote growth and learning. So when giving criticism to young athletes, firstly, don't give criticism in front of others, in front of other athletes. Just give it one-on-one with that specific athlete. Number 2, avoid doing it when there's maybe anger or emotions involved. If it's just after, a game that a shot lost the game, give it a little bit of time before you give the criticism. Let the anger or the feeling dissipate, and then bring that to the surface. So don't do it in front of others. Don't do it in an angry attitude. Do criticism thoughtfully. Give them something they've done well, and give them something to improve upon. Maybe you've heard it before. It's often like a criticism sandwich. This is what you did well. This is what we're going to work on as a team or as an individual moving forward. And then this is what you also did well and what we're going to end with. And number 4 is criticize gently. So really be careful about your words, because words cause thoughts, and thoughts cause feelings, and feelings what's going to get your young athletes either to take action or lack of action. So we really want to provide it in a gentle, kind way that's going to excite the athlete to continue to move forward, but that gives them something concrete and constructive that they can actually use as a valuable tool to evaluate if they are improving moving forward. So those are 4 tips for constructive criticism. And get them to reflect, ask them questions. Did this go as you were expecting? What went really well? What principles are you learning that are helping you improve the mindset of your athletes on and off the field? These are great questions, and we need to ask them as ourselves, as parents, as coaches, but also ask them as our athletes to see and get them thinking about, what their goals are in sport, and to get them thinking on that growth mindset, because ultimately that's what the name of the game is becoming that athlete, becoming that healthy and fit youth that is going to prioritize health and fitness for the rest of their life, and not just for the next 2 or 3 years, but ultimately as a lifestyle to adopt fitness and sport, and to really be an example to others in the world who maybe don't see the benefit of fitness currently. So with that being said, to review, we had 5 main points today to inspire growth mindset in our youth athletes, in health, in fitness, and in sport at all 3 levels. And those were promote your athletes to try new things, encourage persistence, reframe losing, also reframe winning, and lastly, handling that constructive criticism, not in front of others, not with anger, but really thoughtfully and gently. So with those 5 principles, I hope that can help you move forward to stimulate your youth to really be going after their health, their fitness, and their sport goals, and to continue to evaluate not only the physical results of the sport, but how am I growing in my self-talk, in my thoughts, in my health and fitness? What are the feelings towards my sport? These changes are going to occur way quicker and come way more prominent than the external results. So we really want to cultivate these youth to see the change and transformation that is happening internally, which will then signal the external results of that sport. With that being said, I hope you found some helpful tips and tricks today. I hope you go expand your mind and unleash your potential, and I can't wait to see you next time.